In the juncture between music and writing, I'll tell you about my poetics. I strive to enjoy all creative mediums for their intrinsic semantic differences. Writing has been the most inspiring medium to me, and how I've been able to be as creative as possible, and music has been the second most inspiring. Music can signify contextually, for instance, the significance of Braxton's audacious for alto gesture in the jazz tradition. Intrinsically, music signifies non-linguistically and structurally through time, especially inspiring for writing, since writing intrinsically signifies linguistically and reading is executed through time. Music can be described in language, but description is a distinct entity from the music. Music is exemplary for experiencing structure prior to linguistic signification. The form and content binary is not useful for contemplating music. Form and its signification is a more useful mode, which is also more useful than form and content for contemplating writing. Writing's form is decision in language. My poetics modifies Louis Zukofsky's An Integral, lower limit speech, upper limit music, by modifying speech to language, by language writing's problematization of speech and investigation of language's semantic production, and restructuring the hierarchical limits into dialectical horizons. Ghost trance music is the primary inspiration for the form I first used for my poem Presymbolic. From Presymbolic to Totality on Method, published in my journal Orange Cell, issue 2, and on the handout. My primary poetic project, 2011, was Presymbolic, Insert Press, forthcoming 2012, a reverse crash course through 2,500 years of English poetry and Western theory in 1,000 sentences, with the rhythmic constraint of every set of 10 sentences, consisting of sentences of 1 to 10 words each. The constraints approach to the historical progression enabled adventurous creative decisions. The progression's conceptual tempo starts slowly through years and speeds up through decades and then centuries. The poem's engagement with the historical archive both reinvigorates it and unleashes its enrichment repressed in the concocted partialities of contemporary poetries. When it is published, I'm going to automate a Twitter account to tweet one sentence every 10 minutes, which adds up to slightly short of 1 week. During that week, I'm going to read it in a space related to the historical archive, such as a museum or library. The two performances are temporal and social overlays to the poem's historical rhythm and tempo, and variations on the futurist declaration to demolish museums and libraries, instead running through them to make use of them anew. These are Presymbolic's first 100 sentences. Onset of mechanical reproduction transformation. Haphazard, administrative, visible, imagined, incorporated morphology aesthetics. Metaphysical grease paint. Generations of science, theory, nature, pleasure, process, time, space, age. Prose, forms, postures. Stratification. Emphasizing this word in this sentence in history. Modern event cycle, longue durée, hegemonic, market, genre, intersect. Rise implies regularity solution. Dominated, fundamentally immanent realm of everything. Novel, local, real, decadent encyclopedia. Death by author. Bootlessly lured into doctoral apathy, keeping it militant. System designed cheap core. Century of productivity lies and critical spirit. Settled critique eminent as threats of polemical, respectful art prejudices. Revising past retreat and trenching narrow effect. Occasion realist weapons to failed fact and master disturbance. Sexuality is categorized. Desires. Opposite emotional substitute. Sympathy for masculinity, authenticity models. Unsuccessful identifications sufficiently terrifying. Penis focus full of women with beards. Butch wildness, governmentality. Queer homophobic intimacy, mediated to futurity and heterosexual ideology privacy. Hygienic consumer epidemic to penetrative questions of the universe. Captured in rapturous deep falling apart. Rip a question worth divorced cognition, projected when oblique. Denying erotic overture of enlightenment as denominator. International sovereignty within coherent social spectra of unhomely landscapes. Marketing recognizes how. Flexible class, ineluctable for democratic master narratives of benighted mirrors. Science, seance, silence, language, languish, concentrates stress. Today, they deny right to ask poetry. Full body mediation, multi-user signifiers. Floating view. Amplification, surprisal, detachable, numbing withdrawal. Count zero overdrive, biz interfacing matrix text. Metamorphoses. Progress, fixity, decoding original medial environments as embodied virtualities. Transcendental subjugated. Subaltern historiographic exigencies from self-diagnosed transparency of colonialism. Essentialism within dialectic and psychoanalysis. Post-colonial defined being. Team's head brass writing Sie Deutsch Wörter. Deep tea urn turns. Gaze ablaze of memories of intact packed incidental treasure. We hold me, coded chance, segregation exploitation. Narrative does not reduce imperial relations. Contradiction state claims democratic sweatshops through feminist overemployment merit formations. Differentiated immigration intensified. Curricula, fellow creature. Adept, unlikely absence, frightening like migrating, inspiring new territory. Experience birth worth reading liberalism. Cordial as anesthesia, relativism. Needs basis for neighbor radical world's common sum beauty. Sweet talking overflow of dimpling generalization. Breast kisses, natural nothing loving anachronism, demimonde, nowhere poured frying. Wig of destiny, unwelcoming. Gun gray, phased up, obliterate portrait praising, matchless catastrophes, twinning. Tang, grave libidinal economy. Black reality limit, kernel erected, trivial empirical logic. Ground untainted, primitive, definitive courtly decades. Supplicant sexuality. Underhand, surface manipulation, bodily contracted subversion antagonism. Ordeal, failed mannerly wealth of obvious. Percussion thought. Particular racist, nationalist theorization, rooted and routed through modernity's promises. This, misunderstood, conceived simple slavery. Material for reconstruction of intellectual heretic skull of socialism. Keep on moving with prehistory. Nation states and minims by messages dissolving time. Management appears ever-changing. Labile, capricious emotionality construction, Wundra, native rebellion. Articulate ambiguities empirically obvious, suggested ascetic phallocentric culture eating hunger. Evil humanistic fabulists cared nation-making explicitness. Authority, rectified administered uses. Metafictional outset. Other marking outer domestic military. Employed subaltern task. Being, making love to becoming, neutralizing theoreticism. Taxonomy anxiety of Marxists, still insisting self-critique distances. Cut. Signed sloth, now pretentious, precious price positioning opening practice. Secular, astonishing fluency, entirely mistaken. Tensions between living linguistic answer, philosophically impossible. Dumbfounded struggles and meta-narrative politics separate social chance objectively. Transubstantiation recourse to essential lifestyle of grand adjectives. Whole. Stand-in, formal, loose, fast fortune, wert thou, exits, gazing change. Hanging barracks. Cock inheritance, authority dependency. Feminism, ostensibly shaped. Polluting aids others, shit trope binary.